Hey, very good morning, everyone. It's Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy with the Nautilus Dry Docks with Logan in the background. It's a new week, 19th February, Monday. If you are just joining my channel, this is what we do every week. We kind of summarize everything that we managed to accomplish, all of our trials, tribulations, successes, and failures. Hopefully you enjoy it. So let's get started. Okay, I want to get started with an opportunity for everyone. We picked up a ton of work, and we've got a lot of work that's going to be going into these new Nautilus kits and such, and that means I've got to prioritize shop time, and that means that things like this are going to get turned over to somebody's hands for an exceptionally good price. This is a German 212 that I got from a gentleman out of the UK. When it was sold to me, it was said to be in operational shape. I didn't have a radio with it. All I've done to this so far is pair a brand new 900 megahertz receiver with a brand new Horus 900 megahertz transmitter. So I've not done any other work. I've not really evaluated. I did check. Servos are working properly. The electronic speed controller is working properly. I just haven't hooked up the channels. Haven't tested it. Haven't trimmed it. Don't have the time. As such, this is going to be sold as is for a stupendous price. Hopefully someone jumps on it. These are perfect pool boats, by the way. They perform really, really well in tight confines. This particular boat, because it's angle, of course, has the built-in pressure sensor. It includes pitch controller. It's got a lot of features on here that make it just a blast to operate. So that is your Monday morning opportunity. Tomorrow, I should be getting my hands on a brand new unstarted Engel Typhoon kit. So if anybody is in the market for one, hit me up, let me know. It may be listed, maybe not by the time this video rolls out. But the Engel Typhoon is absolutely the epitome of the Russian Typhoon model on the market right now. So if you're interested in that, take a look for that. Other projects we've got going on. Battle boats are the push today. I want to get one boat ready to go, throw it in the water and see how it works. Should be able to get that done this morning. I keep on saying stuff like this and it never happens, but we'll give it a shot. Logan is working on Kilo. Where are you at with that?
Pretty close. Only things that I really need to make sure I do are readjust my ballast servo so that the ballast tank functions properly and get my antenna installed. After that, do a quick little test in the pool and see if it dies on me.
Well, Ziva works. Got our stuff in for the flying sub. Got the big hose there, so those pumps can be installed. Probably get on that tomorrow. And then other than that, we're back on the big torpedoes for Sea Hound. So lots going on, lots more coming. We better get to work. So after like 2 hours of playing around, finally got all of the wiring figured out for the battle boat. We are going to go outside, throw it in the water. Now, I've not sealed down the lid here. This is going to be a completely sealed compartment that's just going to stay sealed all the time. But I want to just make sure that our props work, and most importantly, that the cutoff for the pump works. All right, so this is the inaugural test. We'll make sure it floats, see where it floats, see how it maneuvers, and then very carefully, we're going to submerge that back and just make sure that that sensor works. So here we go. Looks pretty good. Oh yeah, I got a hunch this thing is going to get up and move if I floor it. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. Oh yeah. If I carefully dunk the back, these two red lights should go on and I should not be able to use my pump. There we go. That's it. Think we got a winner here. Well, it was a lot of battle boats today. Got the first one done and tested, got the second one put together, and he is ready to go as well. So 2 battle boats built today. This guy just needs to be tested in the pool tomorrow. And then we're going to go ahead and goop. Actually, I might even do that right now. Silicone around there, make sure that these are all sealed. And then we can really play with them tomorrow. Other thing that we got done today, obviously Logan did a little bit of work on Kilo. Hit some frustrating stuff though in terms of the drive time line binding. And so we decided to set aside and we worked on the flying sub. Let's take a look and see what happened there. So this is the new setup for the propulsion for the flying sub. Now before, when I was kind of mocking all of this up, you guys rightfully so noticed and commented that the intake I had sitting up on top, which was going to work really well from a positional perspective, but not from a functional one because the water line's up here. And as soon as I kick the pump on, it would suck air into the pump. So now it's on the bottom. There's lots of room for the water intake for the pump there. It's a straight shot back through the nozzle and then out the steering nozzle in the back through the pitch director or diverter, I guess you could call it. Logan, when he was working, he busted this one off, so it's drying right now. Otherwise, this would also be installed. So that'll get knocked out tomorrow. And then we'll go ahead and throw the case back in there, swap out the ESC, got the new ESC in over the weekend, and that will be back in the water once again. So not a lot of stuff, but we did a lot of stuff, if that makes sense. Good morning, it's Tuesday, and first thing in the morning about 7:30, and you'll notice my workbench is clean. Got all the battle boat stuff off because in theory, if they work, don't need to do any more work. So a little later on today, when it warms up and the sun comes out, we'll get these out in the water. We'll get them wet, shoot them at each other and see if we can sink them, make sure that they're working. In the meantime, I need to build a battery pack for this. I'm going to show you guys what I do for that. And then we'll get on to some other stuff. And in the meantime,
good couple sets of torpedoes.
Yeah, we got one customer ordered 12 torpedoes. So like one launcher, but 12 torpedoes. I don't know if he's just planning on shooting them and letting them swim out into the lake and forget about them or what. But we got this going up. I got another batch printing right now. So we'll be back in torpedo production mode here today again. But this is what we need to do to clean up the parts when they come off the resin printers. It's different than filament printer. I should actually do a video on the difference between filament and resin printing. Maybe people would be interested in that. But yeah, we're cleaning up all those parts and we'll get them baked and then we'll start making some torpedoes. But in the meantime, let's show you what I've done for the battery pack for these battle boats because it is absolutely applicable to RC submarines. So in the keel of each one of these battle boats is a pocket for a battery. You can see that in there. And you can also see that there's slots in the side there that allows water in. And this was done for a number of reasons, for manufacturability, ease of changing, blah, blah, blah. These are the battery packs. 3 amp, 3S lithium polymer battery packs. You can absolutely, in every way, run these in the wet, and me and many other people have successfully for a long time. Now, when these batteries come, they come with a heat shrink around the outside of it, which is obviously impermeable to water, but the ends are not. So I use a two-stage waterproofing process for these battery packs. I use like a liquid cement, like a rubber cement that flows all in around the sides. And the important part for this is to get all around these wires, both on the inside and the outside between the heat shrink and the wires themselves. So the entire ends on both sides are sealed. And then what I do, I use a clear waterproofing rubber spray, and I spray the entire battery pack to make a sheath around it. So not only do you have the heat shrink, but you've also got a rubberized coating around the outside. And I go nice and heavy on the ends to make sure that if for whatever reason I didn't do a good job smearing stuff in there, it'll flow in and seal it. So that works really well. And I use clear, by the way, so that if there is a leak, you can see the condensation build up underneath the clear heat shrink. There you go. But what I need to do for this, because we need to make a waterproof connector for the battery, is put this connector on this battery. So this has a standard Dean's connector. This has a 2-lead waterproof connector on there. So we need to make it go like this kind of thing. And I just want to show you kind of best practice, or at least my best practice for soldering this on. This is a fully charged battery pack. You got probably about 12.5 volts in here right now. Nominal voltage is 11.1, but fully charged, you're going to be over that. So you do not want to snip this off like this. It'll create a short. It'll damage your battery pack, and it will likely burn a hole in the blades of your snips. So do not just snip this off. We're going to go one at a time. So as I said, we're going to start with that. And just for fun, I'm going to start with the negative. Nothing happened. Didn't short. Didn't explode. There was no circuit made. Clear the silicone heat conduit sheath off of that. Now we've got our wire. And we're going to go ahead and solder this together. Now, before you do that, you want to make sure you've got your heat shrink tubing, which is going to waterproof the connection. Now, I use adhesive aligned heat shrink. Got this off of Amazon. This is by Wirefly heat shrink tubing kit. The plastic sheath is actually quite thick, and then on the inside is an adhesive, so when you warm it up, it fuses to the part and helps create a waterproof barrier in there. So I'm going to go ahead get these all snipped to the proper length, which is going to be about something like that. And we'll go ahead and solder this sucker up. Now, the other thing that you need to know with these is a rubber sheath around the outside, and inside are the wires. So what you can do is just take your knife, and if you go around the outside, not too deep because you'll score the sheath for the actual wires inside. I just want to score the rubber outside conduit, the black rubber conduit in this. And sometimes it takes a little bit of work to get down there, but see, just pull that apart, and now we got our wires exposed. And we can quickly strip this. You can use your side snips for stripping this, or a proper wire stripping tool if you want to go that way. So I've discovered these butane powered soldering torches. These are 70 watts and put out by, actually 75 watts, put out by Weller. I really like them a lot. The only thing you got to watch, there's this vent on the side. You can see it glowing red. It's blowing hot air out there. So if you let this roll, it'll cook your table. So don't do that. We're going to go ahead and get our flux on our parts here. The beauty of these gas-powered torches, by the way, is that they heat up almost instantaneously. Already hot. I'm going to get a nice tin, pre-tin on the parts there. That's all done. And now I've got the heat shrink on there. And the other thing I'm going to do, I am going to go ahead and put a nice big exterior sheath on this as well. So I've got the interior heat shrink, and now I'm going to put an exterior heat shrink on here as well. Now you notice this is really close to the connection there. Because this is so big, I'm going to make this a quick solder, a really quick solder, and just fuse this together, get some solder, pre-tin my tip, get it right on there, and should just have to touch this for a second for it to all melt and fuse together. Just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the positive side. So both connections have been made up. I've got the interior heat shrink, the exterior heat shrink, and we'll bust out our brand new torch, which we just unpacked this morning, and heat this whole thing up. Now I'm going to slip this exterior one over as well and just heat everything up. Now you can use a heat gun, which is probably a little safer, because if you use a torch and you get too close, you can burn the heat shrink. All done. Now, the last thing you'll notice, we've got a balance port on here. What I need to do, and I've got molds for this, I make little rubber caps that go over this. They just slip on and they protect all of the connections on here. So this becomes waterproofed. This is waterproof. And then once this is made up, this is waterproof as well. And there you go. Waterproof battery pack for our battle boats. Also applicable to RC submarine. All right, I talked earlier about waterproofing the balance ports on those lithium polymer battery packs. And I want to show you what I've got for that. I'm actually made new molds because I need to make lots of these, so I'm doing double. I just snipped off these old battery balance leads and then put some clear tube around the outside, and that's going to allow me to make a mold out of rubber that will flow around those parts, and we can pop them out and make a little insert, a little cap for them. So just glued that on some plastic and glued the plastic tube around there. I'm going to grab a little mold release and make sure get the inside from all angles. I'm going to let that dry for a few minutes. I'm going to spritz it once more. And then what I'm using is this silicone rubber. And this is just a platinum-based silicone. And we use it for making molds. And this is 1-to-1 ratio. 3-hour set time. So I've marked off my marks on the inside of my cups here. I'm going to go ahead and pour in part A. And I find it actually pretty challenging to make small batches like this because any error ends up being a larger percentage of the total. So it's pretty important to make sure that you get things fairly close for this. You got a little bit of wiggle room, but you want to be as accurate as possible. This stuff's pretty thick. I've not used this before. I just grabbed it off Amazon because I just wanted to have like a little bit of playing rubber as opposed to the really expensive like BJB stuff that I normally work with. All right, I think we are good there. So I'm going to mix these two together really, really well. And as I'm doing it, or after I do that, I'll hit this with another layer mold release. pour a mold. All right, here is my mixed rubber, and it's pretty thick, goopy. I want to make a note here. If mold making is something that is of interest to you, this coming weekend at our DiveTribe meeting, Dave Merriman himself, professional model maker, is going to be running through the basics of molding and casting with rubber molds. So highly, highly recommended. If you're not already a DiveTribe member, like I mentioned before, we've got a new introductory price for the basic level membership that gets you access to the DiveTribe meetings. $10 for a year. That's all you pay for amazing information. We meet every 2 weeks online and have a great time talking about RC subs, showing off projects, talking about challenges, and learning new stuff. I'm going to go ahead and pour this. Now, mixing this with a screwdriver, like I did, get a little bit of air bubbles in there, which not big problem in this particular case because I really don't care if there's like bubbles in the molds. But what you can do to mitigate the issue is pour this really, really high. And then what happens is that, that pour stretches out and the bubbles tend to pop before they make it to the bottom. And you want to pour this from one side of the mold and just let it flow. You don't want to like pour it all over the part. You want the rubber to flow around it. So just pick a spot on a corner and let it fill up your mold. And I'm going to go all the way to the top there. And then I'm just going to goober right over because I got a nice flow going. I'm just going to goober right over to the other side. So like you can see, it's just flowing down the inside face there, flowing around the part. So really what I'm doing here is I'm kind of casting in rubber. I'm not really making a mold, although I could. In theory, I could pour resin inside these parts and cast up little fake balance ports. But I'm actually casting with resin in this particular case. So just going to check around the sides there, make sure that that rubber flowed all around. Everything's flowed. Wait. Yeah, 4 hours, 5 hours, probably end of the day. I can demold this and we should have these boats ready for the water.
All right, so bit of progress on the Kilo. Had a bit of a rough couple days because for some reason running into a strange problem with my magnetic mission switch. As demonstrated. But good news is we have made progress on the throttle. I've opened up the dog bone a little bit. Now it doesn't work again. What if I do a little wiggle? Why do you work when no one's looking? Oh. As you can see on the mission switch while looking at it, by the way, I can just feel from the wires here, it's quite hot. No light on, mission switch is not active, there should be no power going to the boat. That's clearly not the case. If I get a magnet, camo, that seems to have actually improved performance.
Yeah, put a little more voltage through, but it shouldn't be passing anything through.
Yep.
And the fact that it's heating up there is not
Good.
Yeah, we should disconnect that.
Oh. Oh?
And now it's working. Now it's working. Oh, and now it just passed power through randomly.
Me and my haunted boat.
Okay, well, that's a big motor spinning really, really quickly, so I wouldn't doubt that. But 4 amps is fine. That unit's rated, the switch is rated at 15 amps. All the wiring and everything is fine. So it's not glitchy. It's running properly.
It's not hot.
It's not hot.
It's also on right now.
It's on right now. Okay, turn it off. Okay, I stopped hearing power. And it stopped.
Wait for it.
Yeah. Just like move stuff around. I don't know.
Spirits, I summon thee.
All right. Well, it seems to be behaving now. Turn the switch on. You got to keep the throttle in the middle for it. There you go. Ooh, careful, careful, careful. Doesn't hit this towing sub. It's working fine. It's not cutting out. Servos are all working.
Every input is working at 100% efficiency.
And try air pump's working.
Well, probably. One of the hoses got disconnected and is sitting inside doing nothing.
Yeah. All right. Well, pull it apart. Fix the pump. Switch seems to be behaving. This is just weird. And speaking about ghosts and other stupidity like that, you guys saw this thing was working yesterday. But now, for some reason, when and where's my radio for it? A red radio. Oh, it's charging right now. When I turn it on, the pump comes on. Now, I ran into this issue before. The relay module, the original one that I installed, stopped working. It was just passing voltage through all the time. And I thought, oh, it's just a, random, defunct relay switch. Swapped it out and everything was working perfectly. It was working perfectly yesterday. This morning, I go to turn on and now the relay is just passing voltage through. Can't stop it. Can't control it. And the awesome thing is that according to the design, this upper section is basically siliconed down onto the bottom one. It was an idea of a semi-permanent solution. Now I get to pry this off and try and get access to the interior again. So now we're going to get to see how easy that goes. We're going to try and crack in to the battle boat. Now that it's been completely sealed. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. If we can get a corner up, we'll be okay. Oh, man. Sucks so bad. Oh, well, that wasn't bad at all. Holy. All right. Diagnosis mode. What the heck is up with the relay? All right. We got this figured out. It was indeed this relay. Now, this is an RC switch. I've used these before, and they were fine. This pump was only pulling maybe 3 amps. This is rated for 8 amps. But this is the second failure. So I don't know if it's a batch issue or an application issue, but at any rate, that goes in the garbage. This is what I'm using now, and I actually really like these. These are called a battle switch. I got it from Robot Marketplace. Right now I've got it wired to this LED just for testing purposes, but you can see when I engage the pump, the light comes on. That's exactly what we want to see. So now what we need to do is figure out how to fit it in here, because obviously it's a lot bigger than the previous unit, which is not a massive issue. Tuck everything back in and then hope we can get this upper area sealed again. If it's not one thing, it's another thing, but progress. This is now functional. We're back where we were yesterday, and yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it. So Logan's test of the boat was actually apparently good. I wasn't here, so I don't know what's going on. Still attached to the top. But there's a persistent nasty leak in the battery compartment, and so we're going to use our test hose, which is part of our normal builds. The antennas run through there, so just going to basically, that's a good way to lose your teeth. So we got to see where that thing is leaking from.
Apparently nowhere. So
from the ballast tank.
In the ballast tank. So yeah, flip it over, get the ballast tank full of water. But if you were blowing in it, it should have put more air in the ballast tank and leaked out. Nothing. Well, I don't know where that water's coming from.
There's water in there again. I don't know how the heck it snuck in there without getting rid of the air, but there's water in there.
And this passage is like all open, right? Like there's air that can go
from this side to this side.
That doesn't make any sense.
Welcome to the entire Steelers boat. The magnetic emission switch is acting up again. But don't worry, it's only when I'm here. When anyone else is watching, the mission switch is like, I'm sorry, I'll be here.
Yeah, you're right. They got probably, what, like...
A little bit of water.
That's significant. That's a lot. But why is it not bubbling when you pressure it up? Looks like it's got good seal on the end caps. And both of these, oh, there's a little bit going on there, but both of these servo caps on the outside are sealed, right?
Mm-hmm. The tiniest little bit of micro bubbling coming from here.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense though, because that was a lot of water, and you had to pressure that up quite a bit, right?
I was heaving pretty good.
All right, well, let's bring it back in the shop. We'll take a closer look at things.
So we are getting close to the end of the day. Did a whole bunch of work on torpedoes. I built 15 of them. That just barely takes care of the orders, which keeps me busy for sure. Just got my new shipment of silicone in, which, by the way, I'm a huge fan of Gorilla Brand products. I love their gel CA. You guys have heard me talk about that before. But I love their other adhesives as well. But I'm gonna goop up Battle Boat here. But just as I do that, I just wanted to let you know I did get that Angle Typhoon in. Hywell stopped by from Austin. He discovered that just because of his physical condition, Typhoon is not a good choice for him. It is heavy, it's big, it's hard to transport. So we did a little horse trading, and he has a brand new Scale Ships Lada kit, which is absolutely gorgeous. I did a review of that few years ago, and those kits are available for purchase on my website. I think I've got another one on the way from Belarus that should be here in the next couple of weeks, along with Vladimir's amazing Bori kit, which, by the way, comes now with the missile, the Bulava, or I think it was called, missile upgrade. So you can render that in your model with exposed or opening or functioning missiles, depending on your competency level. But yeah, that Typhoon is now available. I am going to get it listed here this afternoon after we finish up in the shop. And you guys can have a crack at that. It'll be discounted over a new unit. Just barely touched right now, so basically in new condition if you're after a Typhoon. So wrapping up in the shop, Logan's already up. We got some kind of a cool project that we want to do. We found some software. It's a game, but it's submarine related, and we hope to do a little video on it here. We'll see how it works out here today. All my torpedoes are done. Battle Boat is done. Logan's Kilo is going. We got the silicone in the flying sub. So we got basically completely open through the middle. We got all room for the linkages, room for the box, and lots of intake room for both of the pumps, drawing, of course, from the bottom. So this, hopefully, tomorrow we may get back in the pool again. Hopefully the water is nice and warm for us to get in there. But that whole Battle Boat relay thing was just a pain in the butt. It required a bunch of tire spinning today, which is never good for morale here. these should hopefully be all cured up by tomorrow, which means the little rubber caps for the batteries will be all set to go. So we'll be dropping those in the water Wednesday morning, and it's a little foggy outside, but forecast is actually calling for beautiful weather, like around 80 degrees and partly sunny today. So that's pretty cool, which means we'll probably get battle boats in the water this afternoon. Make sure that they're both working. Just a little bit of an update. So I had talked to you guys about the little rubber caps, and this is how they end up turning out. And they just basically press fit over the balance ports here. So let me get this set up. I just put a little grease on there, and then they just press fit right on the top, and that protects the balance port from getting the wets in there, which doesn't actually hurt the battery, but it does corrode the leads, and it can affect the ability of a computerized charger to read the individual cell voltages, and you don't want that. So we'll just keep the water out in general. Logan's not feeling well, so he's sleeping in a little bit today. He's taking the day off. So I'm going to be doing battle boats, and then I'm going to get on to flying sub, because if we're going to be dunking boats in the pool, you might as well make it worthwhile and get more than one. Let's get to work. All right, new electronic speed controller has been installed and tested, but I want to see current draw just because I'm a little touchy about it now. Radio is on. I got my WhatsApp connected there. Let's turn it on. 11.1 volts, so the batteries are a little low right now, which no doubt considering the draw that the other one. So 0.07 amps, so 70 milliamps. And let's just give her some throttle and see what it does. About 1.8 amps for both motors running together in the dry, but obviously much better than those other motors. So I'm going to clean all this up, disconnect all this other stuff, and reinstall the watertight compartment, put it in there, get some foam in there, and we'll get to trimming. All right, little progress on the torpedoes here. Just want to show you how I've got these all set up. Now, I've yet to put the remote switches in. I'm going to do that here right away. But here's the control. We've got our X18 radio here, and both of these torpedoes are on and ready to go. So you can see I've got servo control of the torpedo 1, servo control torpedo 2, and then throttle and throttle. So that's all controllable through here. And at the same time, I could, in theory, be controlling the Seahund itself as well. So all of the control for 3 independent craft are all handled at the same time through one transmitter. So this is looking really good. What I am going to do now is get those remote switches done, get the rear torpedo bodies installed, and then we're going to look at putting all of these like seals and everything together. Back outside in the top secret test facility. We're going to dunk flying sub here right now and see where it floats. Now there is, I think, going to be a pretty significant weight difference between those old motors and these new ones. So what I need to do now is drop it in there, check and see where it floats, see what sort of changes need to be made to the ballasting and the foam, and we'll see what happens. All right, I can't see a darn thing with this camera because I'm going solo and being my own cameraman and everything today, but let's see if we can see where this thing is floating. Oh, definitely higher. And so we got to add a lot of weight right up in the very front. All right, just added, oh gosh, what is that? 7 ounces of weight right up in the front. It's perfectly level and looking really, really good. So, because I am a sucker for punishment, I'm going to drop this in the main pool right now, and we're going to try and see what it does. So, I'm hoping our explosions are over with and the sinkings are over with. Let's just see what it does. I'm going to wedge my phone in the rocks here and hope like heck it doesn't fall into the pool. So I don't know if this is, it's kind of glitching really bad. I think my pool's got too much chlorine in it right now. It is like absolutely perfectly level. Does not like to turn. It's ballasted absolutely perfectly. I lost throttle. And there's smoke. What the literal hell? Exact same thing. Smoke everywhere. It's all torched in there. Wow. I am so done with this thing. The only common element to this now has been the remote on-off switch. Everything else has been replaced. Oh my God. Brand new electronic speed controller. Now, if this is like the last time, then the receiver's shot, the servos are shot. I got to do damage assessment and see just what the heck we're dealing with here now. I've never had this happen before. Never. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. So I removed the old electronic speed controller and I've removed the switch. The switch is completely melted. It's come desoldered. And then obviously the electronic speed controller is not looking exceptionally healthy right now. But if we plug in our receiver here, everything still works. So receiver's good, servos are good. Thank God for that. My only thought, this is the only component that was common to all of these failures. That's all I can think of. So I'm thinking I'll do one more iteration. I'll replace the electronic speed controller yet again, but run it without a switch. And we'll see what happens. About 18 minutes later, this thing is set back up again. There is no switch. The only thing we've got is batteries, speed controller, receiver, and servos. That's all that's in this thing right now. Everything is working. You know, one thing I noticed, it had virtually no thrust before, but when the ESC blew, it seems like it had way more. I think I got air bubbles in there. Some trapped air. Turns nice. It's doing some glitchy things again. I'm just going to give her a little dunk. Make sure there's no air trapped in there. Turning nice. It's under the water. I can see, lots of water being pushed out the back, but there's just no speed on this thing. Well, this is not acceptable, but is working. No explosions, no smoke, no fire. These pumps are just not giving out an adequate amount of thrust. So, at least it didn't explode. It's just not adequate for propulsing this thing. The pumps are putting out, I guess, a lot of volume, but not enough pressure to get any sort of velocity for this thing under the water. Steering response seems really, really good. There's no problems now at all with, control. There's just not enough thrust, which leads me to believe now we need to modify the drivetrain to go back to something more traditional, like a ducted propeller. That's going to suck a lot more water and blow it right out those jets. But that means going right back to the drawing board in terms of propulsion here. Again, it's really, really frustrating. But this is all new. I've done smaller flying subs, and they accept a lot different propulsion types. This is just a different, larger submarine, and pumps unfortunately just don't seem like they're going to be able to do it. So we're looking at some props. All right, sit rep. Propulsion and flying subs completely inadequate. Not going to work, which is awesome because I've got so much time to allocate to this project with no other projects backed up. But this needs to get done. And before we throw in the towel, we're going to give it one more college try. So all of this stuff is what was in there previously. We had the bilge pumps blowing water out through the nozzles and then through the diverter that would create pitching moment about the submarine. This is no longer in the submarine. These are no longer in the submarine. The neat thing about this, and I've done videos on this before, you got to think about these. These aren't pumps. These are electric motors that are connected to an impeller with a shroud that turns them into a pump. So if you get creative, you can turn something like this into something like this. So this is simply the outer shroud removed from the pump, and now what we have is a completely waterproof brushed electric motor that would in theory be easily replaceable if something were to ever happen to it. You just order a new one, cut this off, and you got a brand new waterproofed motor. These work great, by the way, for RC submarines, and I've used them in my home-built ROV project, if you want to check that out. I think what we're going to end up doing is just making a mounting bracket for this, shaft going out, and then put a propeller right in front of those diverters in the back of the submarine. And we're just going to have this thing blow water right through, with like a big, what is that? Probably 1.25 inch diameter propeller. And it'll just blow it and wash it all out over the back. And in theory, that should be a lot more thrust. Now, I did know, by the way, a pump will never give you as much thrust as a propeller. Otherwise, all boats would be propelled by pumps, right? I just didn't realize how inadequate it was going to be in this particular project. So I'm going to modify the other one. I'll grab some props. We'll start rigging up some brackets to mount them and take it from there. I'm a little bummed out with this today. It's coming up on lunchtime here right now. We might just put a pin in this till tomorrow. Maybe work on my torpedoes for Seahound. All right, back outside with Battle Boat 2.0. We're going to throw this in the water. We want to test maneuverability. We want to check and make sure it's not swamping itself under high-speed maneuvering. And we want to get it a little wet and see what happens when it starts taking on water. So once again, we'll try and set the camera up as I'm flying solo today and see what happens. Here we go. Oh yeah, these are quick little guys. All right. Well, we've taken on 0 water. So now I want to flood the boat a little bit. And just kind of see what it does. So that water ends up pooling in the back. Oh, that's not good. But the water sensor worked, and my pump is locked out. Okay, what I done, I just switched the battery around, so now it's sitting a little further forward than it was before. The boat seems to be sitting pretty level. So it's nice to be able to work on a couple of different projects at the same time, because you get frustrated on one, you can move on to another. Back to my torpedoes, which I'm super excited about. I've got the sternmost section mounted to the stern section. You can see the waterproof connector there. That's going to go into the main body. So let's take a look at that. And you guys have seen this before. These are the main tube bodies. That's made from PVC pipe with PETG little interfaces on the top there. The whole center section of this is going to be hollow. So it's going to be completely buoyant, and so we're going to need to add a whole bunch of weight. But because these torpedoes have such a torquey motor, that righting moment is going to be something that's really important. We're not going to need to really access the bow of the torpedo very often. And so what I've gone ahead and done, I've drilled vent holes in the top and then drain holes in the bottom. And then this basically just goes in like this. And then this screw gets tightened down and locks it in place. And that's it. Got the bow of the torpedo, the tube of the main body of the torpedo, and then the stern will go on. So my plan here now, I'm just going to go ahead and screw this down, do the other one, and then put these waterproof caps on. And then we can throw this thing in the swimming pool and strap a whole bunch of weight to it and see what we need to get this thing down to as close to neutral buoyancy as we can get. Now, obviously, we need some degree of positive buoyancy because there is no pitch control on these torpedoes, and so we want them to maintain their presence on the surface of the water. And it'll be interesting. You get really fast if it is torqued over. If you kick the rudder, it may drive it under the water, but we'll have to see how that all turns out. But so far, they're going really good, which is about the only thing that's gone well today. The battle boats, they worked okay. The water sensor in the back, right here, they are so sensitive that with it just being damp, it arcs through here and is enough to keep the pump off. So now I'm going to have to pull this apart and figure out a way to isolate it so it doesn't arc through just water on the hull. No, whatever. At least the torpedoes are going well.
Okay, so I'm going to finish in the shop here right now, and I got to go to the computer and start drafting all the 3D files that I need to convert Flying Sub into a working boat again. But some updates here. Got the end cap on the torpedo, so you can see what that ends up looking like. I did bring it out to the pool just really quickly to test it, and this seam right here was leaking. That's why I got glue around the outside there. Obviously, when Steve, the gentleman that originally did the build of the files and everything, put that together, he didn't need to worry about it being waterproof because they were just supposed to free flood and not be functional, which they will be now. So that's not anything to say against Steve and the work that he did, but this just needs to be waterproofed and we'll be good to go there. Retest it tomorrow. I've also got to call a customer about our battle boats and figure out what we're going to do about that little trim issue. So, yeah, I mean, a day of ups and downs, I would say.
All right. It's a new day. A little bit of a fresh start. So yesterday after work, I went to do more work, did the 3D files for the shrouds for the Flying Sub. And this is what I ended up coming up with. So we've got an outer duct, an inner support, and that is going to use the bronze bushing and contra-rotating brass propellers. So I'm actually pretty stoked on how this turned out. Let's see if I can fit this. So this actually just fits over top, just like this. Just like factory. It's so cool. And then what's going to end up happening is the motors are going to be put out here. The drive shaft is going to run up to universal joint and then into that prop. So, you know, looking at the back, the water is going to come from both the center and the outer perimeter of that diverter, which may or may not increase the pitch performance because there's going to be more surface area pushing on that particular thing. So I showed you those parts, and this is what the final assembly looks like. I've assembled the one side, and super smooth, which is what we want. And that's just going to glue straight to the back there. And I've got the motor mounts printing right now. Should be straight shot in to an angle, and as easy as that. In theory, we will see. Logan's still not feeling well, so it looks like it's just going to be me. We'll keep plugging away. The other thing I want to do this morning is put a switch in here, just a physical switch, so that this can be turned on and off without having to take it completely out of the boat. The remote switch was a great idea, but honestly, you know, with this top just basically flipping off, turning the model on and off is not a big deal at all. It's not like, you know, these other submarines where there's a little bit of a procedure to it. So that's the other thing I'm going to be working on here this morning.
I want to show you kind of a cool tool. I alluded to it earlier, but I don't think I ever saw or showed you guys it working. So this is my Snapmaker laser module going in my enclosure there right now. I inadvertently drilled a hole in the lid of the Flying Sub watertight box in the wrong spot. There's interference with the top. So I'm going to make a really cool plate to go over the top with the Voyage to the bottom of the C logo on it. So this is what it looks like, and I know this isn't centered and everything. These are business card deals, so what I'm going to do though is cut this tight to the outside because the patch just needs to go over this hole right here. So it'll look kind of like this. I think it's going to look really cool. This was actually originally a plastic file, and I didn't do anything to it to cut the aluminum with, but that's why it's not optimized. But I think it turned out really good. Get that goober off of it. And the color kind of, matches the blue on the flying sub. So just another tool in the arsenal that I'm really excited to play with.
I'm excited. We've got everything installed in the flying sub, tested and working. Same box. The only difference is now I've got a switch, if we spin this around, on the front. A little waterproof switch, and put the little placard on the top to cover up my boo-boo. Fortunately, all of the linkages work really good. They just ride right up on top of these thruster shrouds. The only thing I may need to do is just notch the top a little bit to allow for this. I haven't checked it yet, but it looks like it just sticks up just a tiny bit. I could probably bend this a little bit too. Let's see here. Let's turn it on. So we got power on, and you're going to notice that the lights are on right now. I did this intentionally. I got the wire before the switch, again, just to ensure that removing that for battery maintenance. In order to turn those off, you just disconnect that super quick. But let's see. Let's take a look at this. So if we turn this on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, rudders. And you can see our super awesome props in there. Now let's see what those look like. I can feel that breeze on my arm back here. If this doesn't move water, I do not know what will. It's all installed. Sucker for punishment I am. Let's bring it outside and throw it in the pool. So I just threw it in the spa here, and it seems to be sitting a little bit low, but still slightly positively buoyant. It's almost neutrally buoyant. Let's see what happens. It's doing a wheelie. So those props are catching air. I lost one of my rudders. All right, little modification. Yep. I'm done. I'm done with it. This was a forceful explosion. It's atomized. Holy cow. Grabbed a battery pack, just checking, and servos are good, receivers good, batteries are good. Just these ESCs are atomizing, completely and utterly atomizing. All right, what am I missing here? Somebody out there must know. I have never run into this before. You know, this is all brand new components, a brand new box. You know, everything was new. Amperage was tested, voltage was tested. Someone help me. Come on. You gotta be able to help me out here. Well, I will be honest with you, it's been kind of a poopy day, all things considered. Flying sub exploded yet once again. It was doing weird things in the pool. No matter what I did, it wanted to go butt down in the water, nose up. Tried adjusting the diverters, and that wasn't doing anything. It was popping a wheelie, no matter what I did. I can't afford to keep messing around with this, to be honest with you. Between this boat, the challenges that I had trimming Seaview, I am months behind in my build queue right now. Got new things coming in, like the battle boats that push everything out too, which are important and cool, but you know they're not making for a good time. And then over and above all this, I got a cool story to tell you. Actually one of my best customers out of New York. I had shipped him some stuff back in September, and he wasn't home, didn't receive it, so it went to a local UPS store for him to go and pick up. But he didn't. Just decided that it was too much of a hassle, and that he wanted it delivered no matter what, and he was fighting to get it done, and he took too long. And then UPS decided to return it to me, which would have been fine, except for whatever reason, due to a glitch in their system, it got sent back to Florida and not Texas. And then they lost it. So about $1,600 worth of really cool stuff, cylinders and boat hulls and all sorts of stuff, just lost. And so I let the customer know. And of course, this whole claims process took so long that the coverage, that the insurance that I got expired, because it's just within like 60 days or something like that, which normally wouldn't be a problem. So no insurance available. So I let him know, like, we're not going to get any money back from this. What do you want to do? Didn't hear from him for weeks. And then today I see that he filed a dispute with PayPal. He wants all of his money back. So, yeah, $1,600, kicking the nuts. We'll see. I reached out to him. I'm like, dude, let's get together on this. Let's work it out together. We'll see if he gets back to me or not. But yeah, like I said, all in all, it's kind of a poopy day. I think I am going to go get a drink. And Logan downloaded a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea virtual reality mini golf game. And I am going to go up there, have a drink, and we're going to play virtual mini golf in the Nautilus from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And we're going to try and forget this whole day ever happened. All right, it's a new day. Had a chance to sleep. Feeling a little better. Not that anything's changed, but feeling better about it. And guess who's with us today? How you feeling?
Mildly better.
Yeah, still a little stuffy and nasty, but I got the battle boats done. They just need to be tested. Glue's drying. We're packing up the Type 7. So we talked about this, like, gosh, I think it was last week. That got sold. The RTR 212 got sold. And the Typhoon got sold. So you got to keep watching my website, because if you want that kind of stuff, you got to jump right away. It sells quick. We had a chance to re-percolate on the flying sub. So what did we decide to do? What did you all do this morning?
Pretty well rewired quite a bit. We've got we've got an extra 2 to 4 connector. Also got to scrub it all down with alcohol because it's kind of nasty. But we've got new ESC in. Hopefully this one doesn't explode this time. We've got a fuse wired. Here it is. Behind pretty well everything, so straight from power to the fuse. So hopefully that should prevent anything else from exploding. We've got a battery limiter circuit in here. What else did I install?
That's it. I mean, you just cleaned it. So, background to this. There were fuses in all situations during the previous explosion. So, when they exploded, it wasn't due to an excessive current draw. I just reconfigured things a little bit, so I did away with the other fuse situation. And now I've got a solid state fuse in between the battery and the rest of the components in the cylinder. And then I also put the lights after the switch this time, so the lights will come on and off with the switch. And this is an Angle of Germany ESC. So I was thinking about this all night. I didn't sleep at all. The other common component between all those other explosions was the fact that I was using the same brand of ESC, except in the case of the very, very first one, which is Mtronics. All these last ones were Hobbywing 1060s, which I've never had problems with, and a lot of people really like. This is an Angle of Germany one. Everybody knows their quality. It's a 35 amp electronic speed controller. It shouldn't be pulling any more than like 7. So it should be fine. Logan's got all this wired up. We're gonna hook it up right now and see what happens. All right, let's do it. Radio is on. Batteries are plugged in. Hit the switch. Nothing happened. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Everything's sitting kind of loose in there right now, so I can see it.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, because the batteries hold the servos in place. Okay, so far so good. Everything is functional there. Now what I want to do is turn it off, plug it into the boat, and check the functions of the motor.
There we go.
So we'll drop this in, and I love how easy this is to put in to the boat. It wasn't way up high. Okay. Power on. And power. I don't think that Angle speed controller has a reverse. We'll need to reverse the polarity on the motors in there, which will take 2 seconds because of our fancy clips. Just clip, clip, clip. All right. We are now back where we started yesterday before it exploded. So in theory, we can go back in the water again. There's nothing like ending out the week with yet another explosion of a flying submarine. The week just wouldn't be complete without an exploding submarine, apparently. Here we are again. This feels a little like deja vu. Back in the water. We'll see what happens. You know, yesterday it performed fine for about 5 minutes and then exploded. So we're going to put it through its paces. One of the big things that I'm concerned about is the tendency for it to nose up under any sort of thrust. So we're going to have to see what's going on. We'll throw it in the water. Hopefully it doesn't explode. So look at the nose, lifts straight up out of the water. I'm not even touching it. I have to hold the throttle like all the way in reverse, and then if I let it go, it goes to full throttle. Actually, even if I go just down just a little bit, I mean, this was literally working on the bench. Turns good.
I mean, it actually looks kind of cool on the surface where, like, once you get up to throttle, it pushes up enough where the windows actually stick up above the water.
Yeah, I can't go under the water. It lifts out immediately as soon as you give it throttle. I'll give it just...
Yep, bare bones throttle, and all of a sudden 20% of it's above water.
It lifts the whole, and it's not just actually the nose, it lifts the whole thing out of the water to the point it sucks air in the props. I'm wondering if those... Let me try something.
Look, there's a boat.
When it kicks in, it sucks all the water from the interior of the hull out. I wonder if I push it all the way under. Aha! There we go. That's it. So, no explosions. It was maybe 5 minutes of running at full throttle. Now, I don't know what's going on with the throttle thing, but we figured out why it was leaping up out of the water as soon as you kick the throttle on. The reason is that the intake for the props doesn't have an equivalent amount of intake through the hull. So it creates a vacuum and it sucks air through the top and basically lifts the whole boat up out of the water. And you saw when I took the top off and pushed it all the way under, there was obviously enough water flow to get into those shrouded props and just tool around underneath the water. It was perfect. It was beautiful. It was easy to maneuver. So I think the only thing we can do is chop some big ass holes in this hull to allow for sufficient water intake so that the boat doesn't create that vacuum inside the hull. So now we got to figure out where we're going to chop.
You sitting all pretty wagging your tail.
Back out at the top secret test facility, and it's battle boat time. Final test, we put some weight in the front and we got isolators in the back. So now Logan and I are going to have a little battle and see how they work in practical application.
Roads are so fun. Well, it's like the universe is kind of conspiring against us. We just had another power failure here at the house. Thank you, Entergy, the Texas power grid. So we're going to make the best of a bad situation and go to storage and drop some packages off. And hopefully by the time we get back, we'll have power again. But I don't know, like I said, the universe is trying to send us a message, I think. This week was just not a good week. Yeah. But hey, Flying Sub's working, but I can't figure out why that radio, the throttle just comes on full. And you have to go into reverse to stop it. Never had that happen before. Now I'm worried there's something in this whole system and the Engel ESC is just reacting differently. So instead of blowing up,
This is all or nothing.
I don't know. I just don't know. But at any rate, we're going to go to storage.
All right, so we are wrapping up for the week. It was an interesting 5 days, to say the least.
Yeah.
And ups and downs and flames and fire and broken and all sorts of things. But maybe things are looking up. The power literally just came back on like 20 seconds ago.
Pretty much.
Yeah, just before I hit the record button. So that's a good thing. Maybe that means that like we're over the hump now. Couple of things. We've got this bad boy. Some of you guys watched us starting to put that together. Logan did a lot of really cool work. Let's show them the interior, the lights and stuff that you did. This is in want of a new home. Now, I would say it's going to need some TLC, but while Logan figures out those wires and stuff, I mean, you can just see like the beautiful detail on the boat. But things like these seams are going to need to be addressed, and not all of the parts are there. Like the hatches and stuff are missing. But if you really want to finish this up, you can grab the 3D files from my site, and you can print whatever you want. 48 scale, about 48 inches long. So Logan's got this interior is completely painted and lit.
And characters are done.
Oh, and the crew. I got Nemo and the crewman for the ship's wheel.
And that is the custom Nemo that I painstakingly spent like 2 hours sawing and re-gluing.
Yeah, and these are all the peripheral pieces, all the detail pieces. Just like the big one that we're doing, like these are supposed to be functional, and these are supposed to be functional, and these are supposed to be functional. I think you can see. I don't know, those glued. I don't know. That's not moving, but whatever.
They're just stiff is all.
Okay. But this is what we're going to do. We have an idea. Oh, and there's the warm white lights. This is what we're going to do. You guys know I've been doing a push on DiveTribe membership because we want to get more people to come to our DiveTribe meetings. If you're just starting out, if you don't know anything about submarines, if you've been in the hobby for 30 years, all of it is beneficial to you. We have an awesome time, and you'll learn more probably in an hour of DiveTribe than you will, a month of internet research. So highly recommend it. So what we're going to do, we're going to take 1 week from today. So it's going to be like the 2nd of March or something like that, right?
Today's the 23rd, so it'll be the 30th.
It's February.
2nd of March. Yep.
So everybody who is a DiveTribe member will get entered into a draw, and you'll win this for free. So with the DiveTribe membership, if you're a member at the end of 7 days from now, then you will get an entry, and you could potentially win this for free. And the way it works, there's 3 levels of membership: basic, elite, and patron. Basic membership will get you an entry. Elite will get you 3, and patron will get you 10. So if this is something that's of interest to you at all, if you got a little bit of time to invest in making this Nautilus absolutely gorgeous, then this might be a good opportunity to not only get an awesome model, but come join us at the DiveTribe. And there's other perks as well. You get discounts and first releases. I am going to, by the way, start as a benefit to my DiveTribe members, holding back video releases. Only DiveTribe members will get them as they're uploaded. So you have to be a DiveTribe member to get them as they're uploaded. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait. And that sucks. But I'm a big proponent of it. I think this is a huge benefit to people and this hobby. So join the DiveTribe. And just something else there, that whole delayed video thing it's kind of important because I do highlight a lot of incoming boats before they're listed in my videos. So if you don't have access to them, you're not going to know and you're going to lose out. It could be worth it just for that. So I'm just saying you might want to think about it. So next week, what are we going to have going on here? Probably going to be shipping out the battle boats. They turned out really good. We got things figured out on that front. Logan is almost done Kilo.
I'm only missing the hold down. After that, everything should be theoretically functional. Of course, you always want to hold out for those last minute kablooey issues.
Mm-hmm. And then once that's all done, if anybody's interested in a really cool like starter sub, entry level sub, this is going to be priced really, really well. So it'll be going up next week. So again, you might want to think about DiveTribe membership. I'm just saying. Flying sub, we got work to do on that. The ESC is doing wonky things. It'll only go full forward, and you have to go full reverse to stop it. So I don't know if that ESC is shot now or what, but we'll pick it back up. And we figured out why it was doing the wheelie floaty thing, which is good. Progress there. And then big focus on Seahunt and the torpedoes. Hopefully we'll get into that as well. So with that, I believe we are going to leave you. But before you go, there's a couple of videos you might want to check out. If you look over here, there is the video of Logan and me going through the Nautilus and playing mini golf. That was a ton of fun. If you want to see that and are curious about what virtual reality is, you need to check that out. On the other side here is a link to my Bill blogs where you can actually find the video for that 48-inch Nautilus if you want to see what it could turn out to look like. So, on behalf of myself, Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy, and Logan, have a great weekend, and we will catch you next time.